Coming up on City Spotlight, we are on location in Decatur. And in this first-time episode on Decatur, we talk with Mayor Julie Moore Wolfe about the major employers in Decatur. Plus, new things coming to Decatur in the near future. And then we'll have a feature with sights and sounds from the 33rd Decatur Celebration. We are on location for this first-time episode on Decatur, here on City Spotlight. City Spotlight is supported by Consolidated Communications. CCI is honored to salute the cities and their leaders in the area, as well as providing TV, internet, and phone service to local homes and businesses. We live where we work and are proud to support the communities we serve. More information available at consolidated.com. And welcome to another edition of City Spotlight. As you can see, we're not in the studio and we're on location for this episode, our first episode in Decatur. And we look forward to learning all that's in Decatur. And we welcome the first time to the program, the Mayor of Decatur, Julie Moore Wolfe. Welcome to the program.
Well, thank you. Welcome to Decatur.
Thank you very much. We're sitting atop here on the top floor of the Decatur Civic Center, so thank you for letting us into your offices, and we look forward to learning about Decatur. But first off, let's learn a little about you. Can you tell us a little about yourself, please?
Sure. I was born and raised in Mattoon. My parents were both in education. My mom was a teacher. My dad was a guidance counselor. I went off to school to be a television journalist. Actually got hired. I lived in Texas for a few years, then came home to Central Illinois in 1986, worked in TV for about 11 years, then had some other great jobs. Been married for almost 30 years. We have 3 kids that are growing up, adults.
Right.
So love Decatur, happy to be here.
All right, very good. You were the Mayor Pro Temp back in 2015. Here on City Spotlight, this is the second time I've interviewed a mayor as a result of being a pro temp, and the previous mayor has passed away. It happened in Charleston, I think, around the same time. But talk about that transition. What happened, and
right.
You were appointed as mayor.
Very unexpectedly, Mayor Mike McElroy passed away just right at 3 years ago now. So I had never wanted or aspired to be mayor by any stretch, but at the time it was one of those things that people on the council felt I should do. I stepped up, and it's a big transition from being a council member to mayor. It's an entirely different ballgame. Really have come to love the job. Didn't think I would, but I appreciate it, and I love the behind-the-scenes work, and so it's been a lot of fun.
How has your prior experiences in general, and or your prior experience working in Decatur prepared you for this current position?
Well, I feel like I've been very fortunate. I started out, in television news, and so I have a pretty good media background. Went on to run the Chamber of Commerce in Decatur, so I really came to get to know the business community. Went to work for the state of Illinois, so got a first-hand look at government, and I've worked in healthcare for the past 10 and a half years. So I feel like I've got a pretty well-rounded education. Serving on the council helped a lot prior to becoming mayor to really get you think when you're on the other side that you have a really good understanding of how things work. But until you're actually in the seat making the decisions, I don't think you really have a real perspective of how government works.
And these nearly 3 years being in the mayor's seat, have they gone by really fast for you? Has there been any overwhelming at any point?
Really, probably the first year was overwhelming because it was not something I'd planned to do. And so I thought, well, this can't be this hard. I raised 3 kids who were very active, worked full-time the whole time, and we're all so much more electronic now. So I thought, not a big deal. I get up about 4:30 every morning anyway. I'll take care of city's business, electronically. It'll be good. And that does help quite a bit because it makes it really easy to reach council people and the mayor. However, we are so tuned into electronics that people want an instant response, and it's not always that easy.
No, it isn't. Time does fly with the media now. Well, let's talk about the city that you lead, Decatur, and as people at home know, Decatur is located right in the heart of Illinois, in Macon County, and let's start with, I think the location of Decatur is very interesting, and you have many roads that go in, around, and talk about that strength of Decatur's location.
Well, our location we feel is very key for economic development because we are centrally located. We've got 3 Class 1 railroads that come into town and an inland port where we're able to ship things very quickly, and transportation is everything for manufacturers trying to get their goods to market. So we feel like we've got a real edge there. We've got a lot of state roads running through the city, which has its good points and its bad points. Right now, with the state struggling financially, it's our roads need a lot of work, and the state doesn't have a lot of money to get that done. So people call me constantly saying, we need our roads fixed, and I can't fix those roads. I can fix Decatur's roads, but I can't fix those.
All right, very good. I think we can all feel the pain of roads in Illinois at some point. Overall economic landscape, how would you describe it now? I know that's a very broad question, but how would you describe Decatur's economic landscape as of right now?
Well, things are really going very well. Our unemployment rate is down. We have over 900 jobs that are open currently. Our biggest challenge right now is filling those jobs. Caterpillar relocated one of their plant's operations to Decatur. That announcement was made a little over a year ago. So Caterpillar has probably hired 1,500 to 2,000 people in the last year, and they're still hiring. Fuyao is the old PPG plant on the south side of Decatur, and the PPG plant just struggled for years. Fuyao is they've invested millions of dollars into that plant, and they're going gangbusters. So, if anything, we're needing workers that want to come here and work. We've got the jobs for them.
Okay, very good. You led right into listing some of the major employers. Let's talk about some of your major employers in Decatur, and I think it starts with ADM.
It does start with ADM, and we pride ourselves on being America's agribusiness center because, while we don't, if we had the Hershey's Chocolate Company, everybody would get that.
Right.
A lot of people don't understand that all those, acres of corn and beans become something, and so it starts generally in Decatur with the Tate & Lyle Company and ADM, where corn and soybeans come to Decatur, and all year long they're processed into things that literally feed the world.
Have there been any updates or changes to those facilities in recent years?
They're constantly updating. They don't necessarily ask me or tell me what they're doing, but from a competitive edge, they strive to be at the very forefront of the agribusiness business globally.
Some of your other major employers, although albeit not money makers per se, but you obviously have a lot of people in the medical field with two major hospitals and education. So I guess let's start with the medical field here in Decatur. You have 2 hospitals.
We are very blessed to have 2 hospitals, which has given Decatur a real edge because a community really this size, most communities have 1 hospital. Well, when you have 2, both are always striving to be the best. So we tend to get really great specialists and really great technology that we might not see if, the competition weren't there. So it makes it better for all people in this area. Plus, we have easy access to health care because we have 2 hospitals, both have medical groups, and it's easier to find a doctor you need.
And how have either of those facilities grown? We're in a population town of 70,000+, so they do have to accommodate quite a few people.
They do. Plus, they rely on the outlying communities, the collar counties to Decatur, for people to come in because the smaller towns don't have their own hospitals generally. Right. Some do, but it's been remarkable because probably about 20 years ago, both hospitals really started, upping their game. So St. Mary's Hospital recently broke ground for a new medical office complex. There's a ribbon cutting tonight at Decatur Memorial Hospital for some things they're doing. So it's one makes an expansion, the other one makes an expansion. So but in the end, it's good for the patients of Central Illinois and trying to help them on the right track to better health.
Okay. Let's talk education in Decatur briefly. Just give us an overview. Let's start with you have some forms of higher ed here in Decatur.
We do. Richland Community College, another entity that continues to grow, and Millikan University. The new Commons building, I believe it opened, maybe last fall, is phenomenal. Now, when I went to Millikan years ago, that was the library. Now, it has a library in it, but, needs have changed, and they've turned it into the University Commons. So they've got all sorts of activities going all the time. It's beautiful. They're building another school of theater and dance. Wow. So its construction is alive and well here in Decatur.
So couple of options for higher ed in Decatur, and those bring people to Decatur as well. And obviously, you have many public and private high schools and schools. And the Decatur Public School District is very full and large.
We do. And those high schools, we have 2 high schools that are relatively new, plus St. Teresa and the Lutheran School Association both have high schools in the city. And then our surrounding communities also have really phenomenal facilities as well.
Before we touch upon some other things like parks and events and stuff like that, as far as the city of Decatur is looking to, like, where are you looking to grow? Are you trying to just improve the what?
Mayors are always looking for cities to grow.
Is there room to grow outward, or what are you working on right now as far as growth?
Actually, the city has launched a major neighborhood revitalization effort, and what we're trying to do is reimagine Decatur and what we can be in the future. You know, we know what we were in the past, and you know we've suffered from some growth on the outskirts of town. Now we're trying to reimagine what downtown. Well, downtown has been redone, but really rebuilding our neighborhoods. We enacted a local motor fuels tax about 3 years ago because we weren't getting the money we needed from the state to pave our local roads. So we have a major effort to build those neighborhoods up. We enlisted the efforts of community volunteers. We had 175 people showing up last winter for forums and workshops throughout the winter. What do they want Decatur to look like? What can we do? And everything from jobs and economic development to beautifying Decatur, to tearing down old abandoned homes, to saving the homes we can.
As far as what you're looking for, are businesses looking to come to Decatur?
Absolutely. Our strength has always been in manufacturing. And so, we build on some of the strengths we have, whether it's with the agribusiness giants or the smaller businesses. But we really feel like our inland port and our rail network help us attract and will help us attract production efforts to the community.
We've talked about different forms of transportation. You also have Decatur Airport, which services many flights to a couple of big cities.
Well, we service to St. Louis as well as Chicago. And the Chicago flights are probably a little bit busier because we tend to like our cars once we get to St. Louis. But as far as transferring out, it's been very helpful. The new airline started probably within the last 6 months. So they're supposed to be getting us some new aircraft to go out there, which is great. But we'd like to see more freight at Decatur Airport. We used to be a UPS hub, and so we'd love to have that back.
All right. Look forward to that possible growth down the road. You have a very large Decatur Park District, many acres of land with many things, and many parks, conservation areas, sports complex. But let's start with, you have Lake Decatur.
We do have Lake Decatur, and actually the city manages the lake and the park district manages the surrounding part of it. One of the hidden gems of our community, I think, is our lake, but it is beautiful for recreation. We dredged the lake, and well, we're in the final 2 years of a dredging project, which has made our lake deeper and cleaner, which has been great for fishing as well as recreation. But our lakefront development is really something that we hope just takes off. We have been very blessed by the Howard G. Buffett Foundation. Howard is our sheriff and has been very generous to our community, especially with some of the efforts we're trying to do to improve the quality of life. We have an amphitheater on the lake that is under construction currently, thanks to a grant from the Buffett Foundation. He also helped us fund a sculpture garden, which runs between our Children's Museum in one of our parks to Scoville Zoo. He's also buying us a new train, or building a new train track to run between the Children's Museum and the Scoville Zoo, which is absolutely phenomenal. In fact, he just paid for a new addition to our Children's Museum focused on law enforcement. So we've just got great things happening. And if I could,
yes,
we have a brand new announcement about a huge project from the Buffett Foundation. It's a $30 million project. I mean, $30 million handed to your community. And it's designed to combat the opioid crisis and addiction. So we are going to absolutely see a complete turnaround in part of our social services neighborhood that we were really trying to build, which was going to take us 25 or 30 years to get going. So that announcement has just been made. So we're very, very excited to get that up and going, because it's the kind of thing, it's going to be unique to any other place in the country.
Hearing that as we tape here on August 9th, that's a lot of money. And like you said, you don't get handed any amount any day, let alone that many $1 million, and how it's going to help change part of your community?
Well, and it's really it's fun to go to mayor's conferences because I'm the only one with a Howard Buffett. So.
Can brag a little bit there. We touched upon, you mentioned Scoville Zoo. Not every community is fortunate enough to have a place like the Scoville Zoo.
And we even have penguins. I absolutely love the penguin exhibit. I mean, we've got wolves and we've got, I don't know if it's a crocodile or alligator, but a camel did try to eat my hand last year. We have an event every year. It's a fundraiser for the zoo where it's not for kids, it's for adults to get to walk around, and they bring some of the animals out, which may not be a really great idea, but I went to feed one of the camels, a lettuce leaf, and then I felt bad because I hadn't given the other one a lettuce leaf. I didn't realize that one's a little, bitey. So my hand went in and almost didn't come back out.
Oh,
bad camel.
Glad you have two hands still.
So am I.
So we talked about here on City Spotlight, a lot of communities are investing in their parks and their trails, and obviously Decatur has a plethora of recreational opportunities. And the words that are used from Mayor Jeff Johnson of Shelbyville, the quality of life, and talk about all those avenues that you have here in Decatur for residents in not only Decatur but the surrounding area.
Well, and that's what we find people are really looking for. And it's one thing that whether you're a healthcare facility or a major manufacturer and you're looking for engineers, in order to attract people to these jobs, we have to have something more to offer them. And so you want to have great things to do, fun places to go, healthy activities. We have been building a bike trail around the community for some time. We'd love to have it go across the lake or around the lake. It's not quite there yet. Plans are in the works if we just had the money. So there are all those quality of life things. And I mentioned some of the things going on at our lakefront and our zoo. But it's really like the amphitheater is going to be a huge thing for us next summer. So we're excited to get that going. Millikan University brings tremendous shows to town.
Absolutely.
So we had Phantom of the Opera last year, and it's just, there are fun things to do, and anybody who says that there's nothing to do here, I'll take you on a day with me.
All right, sounds fantastic. Amphitheaters, those are great additions because they can be used for a multitude of things, and obviously with forms of higher ed, they bring in the shows. We know what that's like at EIU with
Absolutely.
That and the Fine Arts Center. Many events that go on through Decatur throughout the year, but just a few days before this taping, I ventured over to, I'm still peeling a little bit from all the sun that I got at Decatur Celebration. Wow, what an event, 30 to 50,000. Lori Storgel gave a great interview. You'll hear from her in a bit. In that 33 years in Decatur Celebration, what does that event mean to this community?
I tell you what, it has become a mainstay and a tradition. People plan their high school and college reunions around it. They plan family reunions around it. It's just something that really goes to the heart of this community. It's a time when you come out, you can see bands, you walk around, you eat food that's really, really bad for you, most of it fried and on a stick, but you see old friends, and it's a wonderful, wonderful event. We have just an army of volunteers that turn out to make it happen. It would not happen without the volunteers. And what's amazing to me, it's always amazed me, and I've only missed 2 celebrations. I didn't live here yet for the very first one. And I missed one when I was in the hospital having a baby. So I get a pass.
You're excused.
Yes, I am excused. But what always amazes me is this giant street party kicks off on Friday night. Saturday morning we have the parade. By the time people start showing up for the parade, the streets are clean. It's like the event hasn't started yet. It is so litter-free and pristine and ready to go. And the same thing happens again the next night. By Sunday morning, it's perfect. And then by Monday, when the party's over, there are a few remnants left, but you would, in many ways, never know it happened just because we do such a great job of cleaning it up.
I had a wonderful time. I saw you in the parade. It was a very beautiful parade. I've kind of covered all areas with you. We've kind of sped along here, but let's kind of cap things off with what are some of the recent additions to Decatur here, whether it be business or otherwise here in the last this year or recent months?
Well, we've touched on many of them. The newest thing will be the community care center to really address addiction issues, which I think is going to go a long way in solving a crisis that is hitting this country, not just our community, and we see it all across the country. People can't get the help they need. So this is going to be just a major thing for us. Our neighborhood revitalization effort is going to hopefully reshape the inner city core. of our community and build it up, because we really want this to be a great community for all. We want people working, we want people enjoying life at things like Decatur Celebration, but we want people to have a happy, full life in Decatur. We want to be the place to be. District 61, our school district, is working to be the school destination of choice. We are also benefiting from the Howard Buffett Foundation. Right. He has started the Dwayne Andrews Ag Academy, wow. Making sure that all, here we are in the America's Agribusiness Center, right. Our high schools didn't have FFA, wow. Which doesn't make any sense. And then you have a generation of kids who, well, we don't live on a farm, why would we want FFA? Well, because we are an agribusiness giant, there are so many opportunities here for kids they don't even know about. Well, by going through FFA and the training it gives and the Ag Academy, where even younger kids can be a part of it, it will put Decatur Public Schools in a whole new light.
Thank you very much for those comments. And my final question for you, what are you most excited about the future of Decatur? You've seen it from the eyes as a TV journalist yourself, now to the mayor, so you've seen Decatur for a number of years. What are you excited about the future of Decatur?
I'm really excited about how people work together here. For many, many years, like lots of places, every entity or organization or governmental unit kind of had its own silo. And I've really seen great partnerships and efforts to come together recently, in recent years. Mainly because, in some respects, due to a shortage of resources, you have to partner up to see what you can do to save money or to get a better buying opportunity or just to make things grow together in the right way. And I really am optimistic about working together as one community to move forward, because I think our future is really bright, especially as we go forward as a team.
Very good. First episode here on Decatur, here on City Spotlight. We thank the Mayor of Decatur, Julie Moore Wolfe. Appreciate your time here on City Spotlight.
Thank you. I enjoyed it.
And we'll look forward to catching up with you in the near future.
Great.
In our next segment here on City Spotlight, we'll have a feature on sights and sounds from Decatur Celebration from August 4th. But first, let's take a look at some of the upcoming activities going on in Decatur.
I am Lori Sturgill. I'm the producer-director of Decatur Celebration, and I have actually been involved with the festival since I was an intern back when I was 20 years old.
Wow.
So that's 21 years. I'm not afraid to say it.
I walk along the avenue. I never thought I'd meet a girl like you.
How you doing? Good.
Yeah, alligator.
This is our 33rd annual Decatur Celebration, and the city of Decatur sees this as their marquee event. People come back to Decatur to enjoy the festival, and we have a great time for 3 days. We take over downtown and have music and food and arts and crafts, and it's really a lot of fun. Anywhere from 30 to 50,000 people each year, so we have a great time. It's something for everyone. People come from a 90-mile radius, but people come from across the country as well.
Everything means nothing if I ain't got you.
We have 8 show stages here at Decatur Celebration, and it's everyone from one of our big headliners that's a national touring act to a local performer to even a stage in the kids block area where little kids get to perform and show off their talents. One of our core values, I guess, when we're planning Decatur Celebration is diversity. So, and we've said it in different ways throughout the year. Something for everyone has been the most common thing that we say. We want to make sure that, when we bring in entertainment, it's something for people who like country music, something for people who might like oldies or hip hop or rock. We really do our best to have something for everyone. Well, it takes all year to plan Decatur Celebration, and we actually start, one of the first things we start doing is finding out who's touring and who's working working in our budget, you know, and in our area over the next year. And it's definitely, it takes a while to get the right mix of entertainers. You know, you go through a process of elimination, and of course we're trying to hit all different types of genres and get names that are going to drive people here. You know, if you live 90 miles away, will that act bring you to Decatur for the festival?
Landon, Jaden. Hi, you're so hot. You want this? Okay. Go, my mama got that.
Razzle Dazzle Good Times Parade is focused on entertaining. We really focus and we task our units with being entertaining, being memorable. That's what we tell people. If you're going to be in the parade, if you're going to do all the work to have a float or something, be memorable. Let people really have a good time watching you go through that route. So we have a total of 80 units, marching bands, to drummers and dancers and tumblers and everything.
Joseph Milton, Matthew Laws, Meaty Matt, Big Joe, the garbage disposal, who already has eaten a hot dog, and we haven't even said but 3 names yet.
Heinkel's Hot Dog Eating Competition, now 7 years in, has been one of the biggest daytime attractions that we have. Heinkel's is a business that's 100 years, well, it was celebrating their 100th year anniversary 7 years ago, which is why they said, you know, we really need to do, as the next generation took over the family business, he said, what can we do that's going to be fun and kind of just wake up, I guess, everyone's knowledge of Heinkel's and get everybody excited about the product in this family business again. And the hot dog competition was born out of his idea, and we planned it together, and we've had so many competitors over the years, and man, those guys can eat a lot of hot dogs.
Hey Wes, what's the record here? We've already hit it, but we're just going to make a big deal out of this one. Right. Down it goes. Our new record has officially hit 30 winners!
I say that Decatur Celebration was the original food truck festival established in 1986. We have about 60 food vendors that come to the festival every year, and we have a unique food format. So when you're walking down the street and you're seeing our different food vendors, you're not going to see, you know, several people serving the same thing. Everybody is serving something different. Decatur Celebration is, you know, the marquee event for the community. People are very passionate about this festival, and they have ownership of the festival. And, you know, they come and volunteer by the thousands to make sure that Decatur Celebration keeps going and has a, you know, successful future.
City Spotlight is supported by Consolidated Communications. CCI is honored to salute the cities and their leaders in the area, as well as providing TV, internet, and phone service to local homes and businesses. We live where we work and are proud to support the communities we serve. More information available at consolidated.com.